All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First off, I would like to give all glory, honor, infinite praises unto our power, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Racha HaKodash, and double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone, the teacher rule well. Peace, love, salutations to the hopeful elect. Once again, I want to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises unto our power, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Racha HaKodash, and double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone, that teach and rule well. Peace, love, salutations to the hopeful elect. All right, start with 144,000, rest of 1/3. Shalom, I'm the brother Hamayan from the GMS Columbus, Georgia church, and I brought this out to be an edifying lesson. I usually be in bed around this time, but just the spirit, man's going of the Lord. So I want to dive in real quick on something I was just thinking about, this word consent. Consent is a verb. It goes into agree, give assent, yield when one has the right, power, or will to oppose, from Old French consentir. Agree, comply. So the point is, Lord willing, Abaratazai, Father will, that he give us a strong spirit to endure to the end and not to consent to this beast system to take that MOTB, because we're commanded not to take it. That RFID C hill, which is the micro C hill, man. Okay, that's the MOTB. And we want to go out with a bang for Yahweh Shema Shai, even if we have to die. But that's okay. This is Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. I want to go into this word faithful. Be thou faithful. Let's go into tried
Strong's
first.
G
Tried,
3985, Pyrazzo, Pyrazzo.
parazzo. Parazzo. It says to try whether a thing can be done, to attempt, to endeavor, to try, make trial of, test for the purpose of ascertaining his quality or what he thinks or how he will behave himself. It says to try to test one's faith, virtue, character. So we're gonna have that real, that mental fortitude, that intestinal fortitude to undergo these trials, that suffering, that hour of temptation. So I want to get that word faithful real quick. See what faithful goes into.
Strong's G 4103, Pistos, Pistos.
Trusty, faithful. It says of persons who show themselves faithful in the transaction of business, one who kept his plighted faith worthy of trust, that can be relied on. Believing, confiding, trusting. In the New Testament, one who trusts in the Most High's promises. See? That's what. This is one who has become convinced that Yahweh Shai is the Messiah and author of salvation. Never looked up this word. So we got to be faithful unto death, because we believe the Lord going to be there for us, man. Abaratazai. Lord willing, we don't consent, man. Lord willing, we stay faithful to Yahweh Shema Shai. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. Now, I ain't finished it. Did I finish 10? I'll read it again. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So it's a reward, man. It's a reward. Let's get James 1 verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Promised to them that love him, man. Love is an action word. You have to show that. So we're going to have to show our faith in the times that's coming up, and this impending danger, that MOTB, major prophecy, before World War III kicks off. We see it brewing up, hearing all these rumors of wars, and like the Apostle Gabar like to go into remore, which means noise. We know it's gonna happen, but the MOTB got to be made mandated, man. And it's at the door, so we got to get built up. Remain rooted and grounded. So let's get Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. And I'm going to read it in the NLT. Because you have obeyed my command to persevere, I will protect you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world, man. And that word world in the KJV goes into oikoumene, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, oikoumene. Inhabited, man, everybody. It's going to be global, you know. This a global, this is their agenda. We got to get tried out, man. But if we keep the faith, be thou faithful unto death, guess what? It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, patience goes into suffering, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this is a test, man. Verse 11, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Now, I want to bring these precepts out because Lamech over here in the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, starting at verse 18, just made me think, just going over this. Like, man, Eleazar didn't consent, man. He didn't agree. He didn't give in. It says, 2 Maccabees 6 and 18, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth to eat swine's flesh, and that's abominable. We have a dietary law pursuant to in the book of Leviticus. You know, that's an unclean beast, man. You're not supposed to eat no swine. It says, but he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came out of his own accord to the torment, man. You know, choosing rather to die. And for us, you know, for you to get that that badge of servitude, that MOTB, you take that. We gotta choose death. We gotta choose Yahweh Shema Shah. We rather die than to take that thing, man. Abaratazah, the Lord, give us a strong spirit, not to consent, not to agree, not to yield to it, but to fear Him and to believe that He is okay. It said, as it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted, but they that had the charge of that wicked feast for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use. But it says, and make as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. See? So they gonna come tie that in at this time with that MOTB. They gonna put people to death, or you gonna have to take it. So a lot of folk gonna fold. So we got to be rooted and grounded in the spirit power of Yahweh Shema Shai. We have to go out like a soldier, a warrior for Yahweh Shema Shai, man. We know all ain't gonna taste death, but if that be your lot, hey, Lord willing to be to suffer for righteousness, man, to receive a crown for Yahweh Shema Shai. It says that in so doing, that he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider discreetly, and as be, as became his age and the excellency of his ancient years, the honor of his great head, whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightways to send him to the grave. Woo! Soldier, man, for it become of not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being fourscore years old and 10, were, if a score is 20, so plus 10, fourscore, that's 80, and 10, that's 90, were now gone to a strange religion. And so they, through my hypocrisy and desire to live a little time and moment longer, should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to my old age and make it abominable. For though for Shalakia, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet I should not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Wherefore now manfully changing this life, I will shew myself such an one as mine age requireth, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. They that led him changing the good will they bear him a little before to hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that have the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in my body by being beaten. But in soul, I am well content to suffer these things because I fear him. Man, that's beautiful. Hey, Barakatah Yahweh Shema Shah. Lord willing, he give us a strong, courageous spirit, man. He told Joshua 1:9, be strong, be of a good courage, be not afraid, be not dismayed. I will be with you whithersoever thou goest. He gonna be with you. He gonna be with you in them times, man. We just gotta remain sincere and keep believing no matter what we facing, no matter what it may look like, man. Remember them words of Yahweh Shema Shah. He's faithful. He's a true power. He don't lie. Verse 31, and thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only to young men, but unto all his nation, man. You know? Yeah, man. Yahweh Shema Shai gonna defend Yasha'Allah, man, especially his elect, starting with his elect. He gonna defend his elect. Aparatazah, we be a part of that remnant, man. You know. So, because the scriptures say the elect can't be plucked out of his hand, pursuant to St. John chapter 10. You know, so I want to just go into that real quick, you know, about that word consent, man. You know, we ain't gonna agree. Lord willing, the Lord keep us with that spirit, man. To FUCK this B system and that MOTB. We ain't taking it. Aparatazah, Lord willing, man. We need the Lord to give us a strong spirit to endure and to make it up out of here, man. Because we don't know, so we got to keep that faith, keep that hope, keep that fear. Because when that dollar crash, that MOTB be made mandatory, our faith gonna be tried out. We got nothing to worry about. That's why it's important to be grounded and rooted and believing on what we're reading. You know, and really building that relationship up and getting closer to Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, so Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson to the Lord, since the sheep and believers. I would like to close out by giving all glory, honor, and infinite praises unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah HaKodash, and double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone that teach and rule well. Peace, love, salutation